I ended up getting a concussion against the Chiefs. So I missed 2 weeks of playing, and that's when I reached out to you to try a few tees. And yeah, I was just thinking like something's got to change. So then, yeah, that week I kind of went out with the Rugby Bricks low cut tee, and I had my tee as well. And I was kind of just playing around, and it felt so weird. It felt like the ball was sitting 20 centimeters off the ground, even with just that cut. And yeah, like I couldn't kick the ball very far to start with my strike, but every fly was just flying a bit straighter. Yep. And I just found like my miss hits were almost the same as my good hits then. And I actually didn't come back until our first week of finals, and I was just like, I'm just going to put it in play. Like, I had 2 weeks to kick it off it. Every day was getting a little bit better. In the captain's run, I was hitting him from a bit further out, better strike. And then, yeah, I put it in play in the game and ended up going 4 from 4 with 2 from the sideline and 1 from 40 out on the 15. And, yeah, I think my confidence, as soon as I hit that first one, I was just like, yeah. Like, I felt like I was back to where I used to be in terms of kicking confidence, where you just step up and hit it. Yep. And just kind of know that it's going to go in. So, yeah, and then I've kicked off that for the last pretty much up until now. Like, I'm still using it and loving it, and especially with the Steedham balls, I feel like I'm kicking really well with it. It's like I've just simplified everything, and it's more about just kicking the ball through the post. Like, we sometimes like go through our kicking at training and are like, oh yeah, it didn't fly right or anything like that, and the coach is like, yeah, but it went through the middle. Like, you need to stop looking into it so much. Like, just kick the ball. So yeah, that's kind of what the journey I've been on over the last few years in terms of my kicking and kicking tees, and kind of what I've been looking into.
Best learnings and ways of thinking from Dave?
I'd say Dave does a lot of mental stuff, and I think that helped me a lot in terms of like that side of kicking. But I'd say that also led me down a path where I was thinking too much about it. Obviously, you can kind of relate kicking to golf in terms of swing thoughts, and everyone knows that you shouldn't have too many swing thoughts, but sometimes it's hard to control that. So, like for me, when I was kicking bad, I had so many swing thoughts in terms of with my goal kicking. Like, I knew I wanted to get my sternum to the front of the ball. I wanted to keep my left shoulder forward. I wanted to get my kicking foot down, and I wanted to finish along the line, kind of thing. But when I look back on that, but having so many of those thoughts, I wasn't actually doing 2 out of 4 of them. So it's like, even though I'm saying them in my head, it's hard to focus on all of them. So like for me at the moment, all I think about is when I'm on the right side of the field is that same thing. Like, I want to get to the front of the ball, because my habit on the right side of the field is I come to the back of the ball a little bit, and then I miss it. I like kind of pull it left just with the natural swing of your foot.
Yep.
And then on the right side, it's just about kind of finishing on my line. So I've kind of narrowed it down to just 2 simple swing thoughts. And I think Dave's maybe taught me a lesson there that I had to learn on my own, just in terms of that thinking on the mental side. And then another good thing I took from Dave was just the little and often.
Yep.
He's quite big on that, and I think little doesn't mean little effort. It just means little repetition, kind of things. Or like, yeah, it's kind of a funny one. Like for me, I find I kick the best when I'm getting a certain amount of touches in the week on my foot. Like the more touches I get, the more feeling I create, and then I kind of get used to that going into the game. Whereas obviously you have some times, whether it be from injury, travel or whatever, where you don't get those same touches, and all of a sudden you're a little bit nervous standing over a kick. You haven't struck one solid in a little while. Like, it's just those things. That's probably one thing I did take away from Dave.
Yeah. I think our sport is slowly getting better. But you look at AFL, so every player touches, passes, kicks a footy every session. Basketball, dribble, shoot every session.
Yeah.
Golf, driving range, putt, chip, drive every session. But in union for a while, they were like, no, kickers, no, stay off your feet, no, off field.
Yeah.
Do your kicking after captain's run, you'll be right. So I'm such a believer as well in that little and often because that's where your driving range mentality can come in.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the flow kicking thing that I often hear a lot about?
The flow, so like the jog through kind of.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that probably hurt me a little bit last year, because I was so focused on that. My stance leg would sometimes get a bit weak.
Mm.
Um, so like I think flow and like tempo is quite important. Like I don't think you should be rushing into any kick.
Yep.
It's kind of you can't. I find even now like I'm almost walking into the ball, and I feel like I just have so much time to be able to put my foot on it properly. Whereas sometimes when I get into the ball a bit quick, I kind of take that time away. My plan leg might not be in the same spot every time, and that kind of makes it hard then to follow along. But I think following along post kick's quite important. Well, for me anyway, I just find that I can get my body. It's a little bit like a golf shot. Like when you hit it pure,
Mm.
you find that you're balanced. Everything's kind of facing where you want it to be. So I find that's kind of goes into my kicking as well. Like if I'm got all my lines right, then I feel like it's almost effortless, and you just look up and that ball's just sailing straight on the line that you want it on.
Yep.
And I feel like that you kind of feel like your momentum is pushing you that way too.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, like for me, I found sometimes last year when I was getting a bit quick into the ball, I couldn't actually follow along or like get through the ball properly because one, I wasn't in a good position because I've rushed into the ball. I'm falling off it. I'm too far over it. I'm stopping on impact kind of thing. So
Mm.
I think it's important. Like I like the flow, but it has to be like tempoed kind of thing.
Yeah. I think there's a definitely time and place for flow kicking into a net, the spirals pre-session, your touches, your feel. But then I think I've been trying to explore and coach players around the compression feeling from golf. Like compression is a deliberate movement, but it's also when you get it right feels effortless. But you've given yourself time, you've got your muscles in the right area. So how can we teach that compression feeling at the time of impact with goal kicking? So yeah, super interesting. One question: there's no valve on Steedens on the seam. What do you do? What are you doing now with your Steeden as opposed to those Gilbert Serieses?
Yeah. Well, just a point on that kicking too. I think it's important to practice both. Like on terms of flow and like we'll still do a lot of kicking where we're standing still on the plant leg, having that strong plant leg and just focusing on that impact.
Yep.
And then we'll have other ones where obviously sometimes you're running down a 15 meter and you're trying to just punch one down that 15 meter. That's a good time then to practice your flow kicking because if you do a lot of standing still kicking, I find sometimes it's hard to kick on the run.
Yep.
But with the Steeden, yeah, there's no valve on the seam, so I'd always face the valve towards the post,
Yep.
but I'd always have the line of Gilbert facing me. So I'd almost use that as like my 45 reference point when I was kicking in union was the line of Gilbert. So I'd kind of align myself off that. But now, obviously, I'm laying the ball a bit flatter. I still just have the Steeden on my closest side up.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think I just like seeing that line. It's almost like another line point on the ball that you can use. So that's what I use. But yeah, I don't think I couldn't even tell you. You don't even see where the valve or where that hole is on the Steeden balls,
Yeah.
really. So
Yeah. Yeah, I always found it unique that it almost feels like it's lighter or a different makeup of the valve. It's not as big a thing like that you notice in those
yeah,
those Gilbert
they
balls.
they definitely fly different. Like end over end, they hold their line better. That's why
Yep.
in league you see the like 6 and 12 passes. Kind of, they can pass them further. They can pass them like a bit more
Yep.
accurate. Whereas sometimes when you pass 6 and 12 in with union balls, they kind of dip and dive. Like
Yep.
even if it's a short pass, sometimes they can, if there's any wind or anything, they can really get affected by it. And it's pretty funny. I'd always pass spiral no matter what, unless it was like a 1 meter pass. I'd pass a spiral. Coming from union, and as soon as I came in and started having a back rower running off me in league, they were blowing up me passing spirals into them because obviously they don't ever catch spirals running short balls into the line or anything like that. So yeah, even if it was a soft pass, they just shit. But yeah, it's pretty funny. So I had to really drill down on my 6 and 12s.
Far out. Great detail around the 6 and 12s. Oh, no, I agree with those end over ends with the Gilbert, how it would fade and dive forward on you, and you'd be like, forward pass. And it's like, why did I even try that?